and very supportive. So, and then the world also knows that the U.S. is diverse, 50 states, and that not all the states are the same. They know California well, and California is well known for being progressive. We're also a leader in clean energy, so California is respected around the world. The only people that hate California are conservatives. Moderates and progressives in this country and around the world like California. We're well liked and respected. So, and you look at the way Trump has alienated all of our allies. If it comes down to it, and I think it wouldn't be California versus 49, I think it would be the world, including the blue states, versus the red America, because he has alienated all of our allies, all of them. And most of our allies, especially in Europe and Canada and even Australia, are progressive, like the blue states are, like California and the blue states are. It's really, Trump has really alienated the United States, but really he's alienated red America. You look at a lot of those tariffs. Both our friend and foe alike are savvy. They targeted red states. They targeted Trump countries with tariffs. Now, they're also hitting some of the blue states like California as well, but they're really targeting the red states because they know. They're not stupid. They know what's going on. So if it comes down to it, I think California will have a lot of support. And really, I don't think it's going to be California versus 49. It's really going to be blue America and the world versus red America. And the swing states will have to decide who they're going to side with.
Right. I am really, really glad that we're not seen as being represented by Trump's America.
No, we're not.
Yeah, it's really Trumplandia out there in the red states. And, that doesn't represent me. And I've always been very, very proud of California. When I was younger, I was proud of the United States as well, but I think maybe I was brainwashed because I hadn't yet really learned then about the continuing epidemic of disappearing Native American women and the continuing epidemic of bigotry against Black people and against gay people and against many, many of our vulnerable, smaller communities. So I'm not as proud. The polish has really gone off of America for me, and I'm becoming more and more proud instead and switching my loyalties over to just California. And I know, Californians, that we can do better than what we've seen and had from the United States in terms of taking care of our own people. I know that we can do better than that. And since we can do better, I've seen it, since we can, it is our sacred duty to do better. But in order to do better by our people, we really need to separate ourselves from what's holding us back, which is the rest of the 49. Did you want to finish up, Bob, for us?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I used to be a proud American too. But I'm living in California now over 25 years, and increasingly become disenchanted with the U.S. and really my loyalty is switched to California as well. A lot of it has to do with my Irish heritage. My first visit to Ireland was about 20 years ago with my father, and after that I became very curious and started studying Irish history and the Irish language and stuff like that. And what I realized was that studying the Irish history is how much in common they have with other colonized people, including Native Americans, including the conquest of Mexico, Latin America, and that the U.S. was really just the second coming of the British Empire. And so my detachment from the U.S. began really almost 20 years ago, and I think the election was the straw that broke the camel's back. I learned a lot of things even before then from a Mexican friend of mine who was on an exchange program from Juarez Mexico, he told me about the San Patricios, and I was like, that's great. I knew why they did it, and I'm very proud of that, and it gives me a lot of common heritage with Mexicans, and I found out that the Irish actually went to lots of parts of Latin America and were participants in a lot of the liberation movement throughout Latin America, including Che Guevara, who's a quarter Irish, and it kind of like it was kind of an awakening for me to realize I was being brainwashed.
Me too.
So a combination of living in California and really connecting with my Irish heritage has really pushed me towards California as my loyalty there. And I kind of see that California's movement for independence as being similar to Ireland's move for independence from Britain. It was a long struggle, and a bloody one. Hopefully California won't be bloody, but it was. And so I do see a lot of similarities there, and that's kind of made me also my loyalty really to California, not the United States. And it's kind of, the United States is an empire, like Britain was.
Right.
And I just don't want to be loyal to an empire.
And the United States empire actually conquered the Americas and annexed California and several other adjacent states rather than asking us if we wanted to be the United States of America. They colonized us. For a long time, we were part of Mexico, and we have to remember that we were taken from Mexico without so much as a by your leave, and there were not only indigenous Mexican people already living there, but also indigenous other peoples who are, and they are still here, descendants of the Aztecs and Mayans and many other peoples from all over. And we were not even the first conquerors. The Spaniards conquered before we did and brought over much of their culture and cooking. And this is why we have tacos and burritos, folks. And we brought over things from Europe, like German sausages and hot dogs and hamburgers. Hamburgers are from Hamburg, people. They're not from here. So we don't really have any roots here. Our roots are in Europe. And the people who lived here knew how to live with the land and harvest when it was time to harvest according to the seasons. They were better servitors to the land. I just want to remind you where we started this show. And, they knew about things like adding bugs to their diets in order to survive because they weren't trucking cattle all over the United States and back and putting these foul emissions into the air to wreak havoc on our global climatic systems. And we're just wreaking havoc. We're ruining all of it. We're breaking everything, and we are going to die. We're going to kill ourselves doing this. And it all comes from not having learned anything from our Native American brothers and sisters when we had the chance. We have a second chance now as a budding nation of California. So let's take advantage of it. Let's look into it. Check into the CalConCon website. It's www.calconcon.com, people. Please have a look at their full initiative and look at the team members and check out my newsletter. Please sign up for that. It's going to be a great newsletter as soon as I get that all figured out. I've put out one edition already. It just needed some pictures, and I'm figuring that all out because I've never done a newsletter before, but it's important stuff. My newsletters are going to have lots of links to events and lots of links to people you should know because these are people and events that are becoming important to the evolution of California as a sovereign nation. So I'm going to let you have the last word here, Bob. You've got about 3 minutes to say goodbye.
What else did I do? You already said a lot already. Yeah, California can be better. We don't need a distant capital to be setting policy. The question I would ask people that oppose independence for California, whether they're in California or not, I would say, please explain to me why the fifth largest economy on the planet needs a distant capital to be setting policies like immigration, energy, environment, even foreign policy. Why do we need 40 million people, fifth largest economy on the planet? Why do we need someone else to set those policies for us when we are larger than every country on the planet economically than plus 4? And at 40 million, we are also one of the most populous countries on the planet. Why do we need a capital 3,000 miles away that's really incompetent, corrupt, and very often, more often not hostile to California values and future? Its economy. Why do we need that the capital when we can do it ourselves? And I'd like anyone who opposes California's independence to answer that question.
That's
What's
right.
the benefit of having that distant capital setting those policies for us?
I have to agree. All they do is really mooch off us, actually. Um, if you can mute yourself now again, Bob, that would be great for just a minute or two. The United States really mooches off of California a lot, folks. We provide most of the world's produce and beef and dairy, and we actually pay the highest tax rate per capita into our federal government and into their war machine. And I don't know about you, but I don't like war. I don't want my money going, all into the war machine instead of into better education for my son and not giving him a chance to make way for his children. Because we are not competitive anymore in the worldwide job market. We're not competitive anymore educationally. We're not, in the top 10. We're not in the top 20. We're really, really low on that list now, which is really, we're so low that it's scary on that list of, the rate of success of our students. So people think about that, do some research on it, and also look into the fact that California wants to make that better. California wants to improve healthcare for everybody by, looking at possibilities such as single-payer healthcare and other possibilities as well. We're open to lots and lots of possibilities, and we'd love to hear your ideas in CalConCon. So please bring your voice to the table. Please bring your voice to the convention table. Please come with opinions and ideas and questions. We want them because they contribute to a whole answer. There's not just one answer. There are many facets of some decent solutions that will help progress everybody, not just some people, not just Republicans, not just Democrats. It's not about being partisan or bipartisan. It's about being a person. It's about wanting to survive into the future with clean air and water. These are things that affect all of us, not just Republicans, not just liberals, not just progressives, not just Democrats. They affect all of us. If you destroy the land, if you put pesticides into the air, the bees are going to die, and that's a protection that's just been rolled back, folks. You need to look at that very carefully and realize that this is, again, another symptom of our federal government not caring about you because they're willing to kill off our bees. Without bees, we die. Bees die, we die. It's a direct cause and effect thing because bees pollinate all our food plants. So I'm going to say goodbye to Bob now and let him have a quick goodbye to our listeners. Bob, you want to say a quick goodbye?
Yes, goodbye. And, just think about everything we've said and what's best for California's future.
Absolutely, folks. Thanks for listening again to another edition of Cal-Exit Radio Mach 2.0. I enjoyed being here with you today and introducing you again to Bob Timlin. And Bob, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for being on with us.
Okay, thank you.
All right, folks. Enjoy your week. And I will be back with you on Thursday at about 10 o'clock. I hope. Sometimes I'm a little later, earlier. I'll let you know. Okay, bye bye now.